There's a kind of emptiness that success can't touch. But no one tells you that because we've been taught to measure safety in numbers, followers, money, approval, applause. We chase goals like lifeboats, thinking if we just reach the next one, we'll finally feel okay. But here's the truth I didn't want to admit, not even to myself. I wasn't chasing success. I was chasing a feeling. The feeling of being safe inside my own body. Not judged. Not performing. Just held. And if that's what you've been craving too, this might be the first time someone finally puts it into words for you. There was a time when I thought I wanted success. But now I know. I just wanted to feel like I mattered. Not for what I achieved, but for who I was when no one was watching. It's strange how long you can live chasing the wrong thing, just because it looks like purpose in life from the outside. But deep down, I wasn't craving applause. I was aching to feel safe inside myself. And that kind of safety doesn't come from winning. It comes from self-acceptance. I used to measure my worth by how busy I was. If I was exhausted, I must be doing something right? But all that doing, it left me emotionally numb. Like I was running from a silence I didn't know how to face. Because when the noise stopped, I had no idea who I was. That's when the universe started whispering to me. Not with answers, but with questions I didn't want to ask. There's this heavy feeling that lives in my shoulders. Like I'm carrying invisible expectations I never agreed to. Be successful. Be liked. Be useful. I followed all those rules and I still felt hollow. That's when I realized I was living for validation, not for personal truth. And the cost? My inner peace. Turns out, pretending to be enough is way more exhausting than simply being. I remember sitting on the floor of my apartment one night. Just me, a cup of tea, and the silence I'd always tried to avoid. No deadlines, no one needing me, and I didn't know what to do with that. But something softened in me, like my soul exhaled for the first time. That night, I met the part of me that was still whole, even when I wasn't achieving a thing. Looking back, I see how I abandoned myself to belong to others. Every time I ignored my needs to keep the peace. Every time I performed happiness just to be accepted. But I know now, self-worth healing starts when I choose to stop shrinking. When I say this is who I am, and I'm still worthy of love, that choice, it's quiet, it's scary, but it's mine. And that's how I started living more consciously. The truth is, I don't want to prove anything anymore. I want to feel something real, something soft, something that doesn't disappear when the lights go off. So I started listening not to the noise, but to the stillness underneath. And what I heard wasn't a command. It was an invitation. Come home to yourself. I used to think being liked meant I was safe. So I did everything to stay likable, polite, agreeable, always available. Even when it hurt, I stayed. Even when I disagreed, I smiled. Because the fear of being misunderstood felt bigger than my need to be honest. I didn't realize it then, but I wasn't living. I was auditioning. And the worst part? I was so good at it, no one knew I was struggling. Not even me. Approval is sneaky like that. It feels like love, but it's not. Love sees you. Approval uses you. I spent years chasing compliments like breadcrumbs to prove I was enough. But the more approval I got, the more disconnected I felt. Like every good job pushed me further from my personal truth. You can't feel yourself when you're performing all the time. And I didn't want to perform anymore. I remember trying to rest once, but I couldn't. Lying on the couch, my body still but my mind racing. What if I wasn't doing enough? What if I was disappointing someone? That was my nervous system on autopilot, chasing safety through productivity. But inner peace doesn't come from doing. It comes from undoing. Undoing the rules, the pressure, the shoulds. I had to unlearn what made me abandon myself. So I started noticing when I disappeared. In conversations, in rooms, even in the mirror. Sometimes I would laugh, and it didn't even sound like me. It was subtle, but it felt like erosion. Like I traded my voice for belonging. But true belonging doesn't cost you your voice. That's when self-acceptance began for me. In the moment I chose to stop disappearing. And the healing? It was clumsy at first. I said no and felt guilty. I rested and felt lazy. But that's what emotional healing looks like. Awkward, slow, uncertain. Like learning to walk barefoot after years in tight shoes. Painful but also freeing. Every time I honor my boundaries, I felt a little more alive. A little more like me. Now, when I feel that old pull to please, to fix, to prove, I pause. I place a hand on my chest. I breathe. And I remind myself, I'm not here to be approved of. I'm here to be whole. To live in alignment with the universe, not the audience. Because spiritual growth isn't about being liked. It's about being true, even when no one claps. There was a time I thought belonging meant being accepted by them. Whoever they were, the friends, the boss, the family. So I adjusted my tone, my opinions, even my laughter. I thought if I could just be easy to love, I'd finally feel safe. But I ended up losing myself in the effort. And the saddest part? No one even noticed I was gone. Because I never showed them who I really was. At some point, I stopped asking, do they like me? And started wondering, do I like me when I'm with them? That changed everything. Because belonging to yourself, truly, is the beginning of conscious living. It means listening when your body tightens, noticing when your voice goes quiet, and giving yourself permission to walk away when the room costs too much. I remember standing in the kitchen, frozen in place. Someone had just said something small, but it pierced something deep. I wanted to laugh it off, to smooth things over. But instead, I placed my hand over my chest, and I stayed with myself. That was new, and hard, and holy. In that moment, I chose self-worth over approval. And that one choice started a ripple of others. The truth is, no one taught us how to belong to ourselves. We learned to perform, to adapt, to fit, but not to be. So I began treating myself like someone worth staying with, even in silence. I'd sit in stillness with a warm cup of tea, just breathing with myself. No fixing, no judging, just being. And something inside me began to soften, to return. It's wild how little we ask from others and how much we demand from ourselves. I used to think self-acceptance would make me lazy, but it made me brave. Because when you truly accept yourself, you stop begging others to fill the gaps. You realize you were never broken, just disconnected. And self-worth healing isn't about fixing, it's about reconnecting to who you were before the world told you who to be. These days, I still catch myself seeking approval out of habit, but I return faster. I close my eyes, breathe in through my nose, feel the rise in my chest, and I come back to the truth. I belong to myself, and that belonging, it's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's serena, quiet, warm, and mine. There's a kind of stillness I used to be afraid of, not because it was empty, but because it was honest. When everything goes quiet, you hear what you've been avoiding. The ache in your chest, the weight behind your eyes, the way your breath catches when no one's asking for anything. But eventually, I stopped running from that stillness because I realized that's where I meet the universe. I remember lying in bed one night, eyes wide open in the dark. No music, no scrolling, no one beside me, just the sound of my own heartbeat. And instead of turning away from it, I leaned in. I placed both hands over my chest like I was cradling something sacred. And I whispered, "I'm still here." That moment didn't fix everything, but it softened me. Like a wound unclenching for the first time. Stillness has become a teacher for me now. It doesn't preach. It doesn't rush. It just holds space for my emotional healing to unfold. Some days, I sit in silence for 5 minutes, and that's enough. Other days, I cry without knowing why, and that's holy too. Because this kind of healing doesn't have rules. It just asks for your presence, nothing more. I used to think growth meant more action, more hustle, more plans, more steps forward. But spiritual growth often looks like stopping, pausing mid-sentence, closing your laptop, breathing into the tension in your shoulders, and saying, "You don't have to carry this right now." And that somehow moves you further than any checklist ever could. There's a soft strength that lives inside stillness, the kind that doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. When I'm quiet, really quiet, I hear the part of me that's never been broken. It's there, underneath the striving, underneath the doubt. That part doesn't need approval. It doesn't need to impress anyone. It just is whole, steady, and serena. Sometimes I think the stillness is God, or maybe it's just the part of the universe that still remembers me. It doesn't ask me to explain, to perform, or to be anything I'm not. It just says, "You're safe here," and in a world that moves too fast. That message is a revolution. So now I return to it, again and again, not to escape life, but to remember who I am beneath it. For the longest time, I thought I was searching for answers, but really, I was searching for relief. The kind of relief that doesn't come from fixing anything, but from being held in the mess. I wanted someone to say, "You don't have to figure it all out right now." But what I really needed was permission to just be. That's what self-acceptance gave me, not a solution, but space. Space to breathe, to unfold, to exist without needing to improve. So many of us walk around looking strong, but feeling hollow. We tick off goals, help others, keep it all together. But behind the scenes, there's this quiet question we're too tired to ask. When do I get to feel safe in my own body? That question changed everything for me, because it showed me that what I wanted wasn't success. It was inner peace, something still and deeply true. Peace doesn't look like what I thought it would. It's not constant joy or perfect days. It's knowing I can sit with myself and not flinch. It's taking a deep breath and not rushing to fix it. It's feeling the ache and saying, "Yes, this too belongs." That's when I began to experience self-worth healing in real time, not as a concept, but as a quiet revolution in my nervous system. And let's be honest, sometimes I still fall back into old patterns. I overcommit, overgive, overthink. But now I notice it sooner. I hear that anxious part of me trying to earn love again. And instead of judging it, I place a hand on my heart and whisper, "You don't need to chase anymore. You're already enough." That's what conscious living feels like, choosing truth over fear. These days, I don't crave being extraordinary. I crave being real. I want my days to feel soft, not spectacular. I want to laugh for no reason and cry when I need to and trust that both are sacred. I want to live a life that reflects my personal truth, not someone else's highlight reel. And that means slowing down, tuning in and letting the universe guide the rhythm. Not to be perfect, but to be present. Because in the end, what we really want is to feel seen even when we're not shining, to feel loved even when we're still learning, and to know deep in our bones that we don't have to chase peace. We can return to it, just like we return to ourselves. Coming back to myself didn't feel like a grand awakening. It felt more like unclenching, like letting my shoulders drop after years of holding everything together. It was quiet, almost too quiet for a world that values volume. But in that quiet, I heard something I'd never heard clearly before. You were never lost, just tired. And tired souls don't need fixing, they need home. I used to think I had to earn my way back to worthiness, as if love only lived on the other side of effort. But worth, it doesn't work like that. It's not a finish line, it's a birthright. When I finally stopped chasing, I felt it like sunlight on my skin. Not dramatic, just warm, like something sacred had been waiting for me to stop running. So now, when I feel myself slipping into fear, into doubt, into overgiving, I return to my breath, to my body, to the truth that the universe never left me. I just forgot how to listen. And that's what spiritual growth really is. Not becoming something new, but remembering who we were before the forgetting. Returning to myself isn't something I do once. It's a rhythm, a practice, like checking in with an old friend. Some days it's a walk with no headphones. Some days it's a long exhale over tea. And some nights it's hearing a voice remind me I'm still loved, even here, even now. That's what Serena means to me, not a person, but a place inside. If you're here now listening to this, it's not by accident. Something in you is waking up gently. And maybe you're not fully there yet, but you're on the way. So let this be your reminder. You are already enough. You are already home. You are not behind. You are becoming. And maybe you were never chasing success. Maybe you were searching for something softer, a quiet place inside yourself where nothing needs to be earned, to feel like you belong. So now I ask you, what would your life look like if you stopped performing and started returning? What if you let go of who you think you should be and made space for who you already are? What if feeling safe inside yourself wasn't a future goal, but something you practiced gently starting today? Because the moment you stop chasing is the same moment you start living. If this touched something real in you, I invite you to breathe that truth into your next choice, into your next yes, into your next boundary. And if this felt like a kind of coming home, then this space, this channel was made for you. Subscribe now and turn on the notifications so you never miss a reminder of who you truly are. There's more to come, and I want you with me when it does. And if your heart still feels heavy tonight, there's a soft place for you to land. A bedtime prayer created for the moments when anxiety won't let go. You'll find it in the description below. Let it hold you the way the world couldn't. You don't have to fall asleep strong, just held. Because healing doesn't happen when we try harder. It happens when we finally allow ourselves to rest.